Last time, we uncovered all the different types of training we do here at the park. We learned why we train our animals, the benefits of training them, and the day-to-day challenges our keepers face when introducing new training. We also spent some time with Awan and got to see firsthand just how our keepers and on-site vet use ultrasound technology to check on Awan's little one. This time, we delve deeper into how Awan's progressing as we enter that all-important third trimester. We get a chance to speak to Tony, the owner, and get his thoughts on the ultrasound training. Check in with some of the other sections in the park, and compare the difference in pregnancy between our primates, reptiles, and other mammals. And lastly, watch as we catch up with the primate team and tag along as they throw our expecting Awan a baby shower. If you haven't already, be sure to check out our last episode. The rest of Explore Your Zoo Season 1 can be found in a playlist on our channel, or you can find both last episode and the rest of the series linked in the description. As the days draw closer to the arrival of the baby, it is imperative that Georgia and the team continue to do ultrasound training with Awan. With each new session done, new data is collected. Data that is incredibly detrimental to the overall tracking of both Awan's and the baby's health. As we ramp up towards the birth, both Georgia and the keepers must make sure they are making Awan as comfortable as possible. And with all that hard work preparing Awan and collecting all that ever so important data, it gives our extremely hard-working primate team plenty of rewarding moments. Moments like seeing Awan's little one for the first time on the ultrasound machine.
So you can see, so we've got baby just here. Okay, you can see him or her kicking out a little bit here, so you watch this as a back leg. And we just watch. and so we've got the spine running along here, and you see that little kick there? That little leg, so the back leg comes down here and along here, so this is just a looped footage. So we've got front leg here, we can't quite see the head in this shot, but this little light spot here is the back leg there, and we've got a little bit of movement from baby there this morning as well.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. It's funny actually, Dan, you said she'd gone for a wee this morning, but she had left a bit of water in her.
Yeah, well, she was going for quite a while.
On the whole, really, I think it was a really exciting moment, I think, for all of us. You know, obviously we had that positive pregnancy test and we said, wow, this is really exciting. But I think having that kind of tangible image in front of us, seeing that baby for the first time and thinking, oh my goodness, wow, that's a real living thing in there that's growing for Awan, I think was really exciting for all of us. I think there have been a few little changes that we've noticed in her. I think whether it's pregnancy related or whether it is just her getting more confident with us, she's definitely been more and more cooperative with her training as time has gone on. I think there's possibly an element there where obviously she's growing a little baby orangutan in there, so there's probably her appetite's kicking up a little bit. So, you know, she's going to be more keen to come over and train and engage with us. But also I think, you know, we've had this element of, I think her confidence with us has also really sort of established, which has been really, really wonderful to see. I think she actually has got to the point now where she actually seems to really get an enjoyment out of the training. She's started presenting her abdomen to members of the public and things. It's almost like this sort of proud mum moment, whether it's that or whether it's just that she thinks she's going to get an extra tasty snack when she does it remains to be seen. But I do think it's been lovely to see her really developing her confidence in that with us. So yeah, so we do have to have a birth plan in place for a lot of our species here, obviously, because as with anything really, you've got to factor in things that can go wrong. You've got to be able to know what you're looking for, what signs of things that maybe might not be progressing so well and things like that. So we have, as you know, I think me personally and have discussed with the team, looking at what we need to be monitoring and things like that, so that we are aware of what we need to be doing when the time comes. Now, hopefully, obviously with most orangutans, they do tend to get on with these things very much by themselves. Their labour process is apparently much shorter than humans, and their babies are much smaller. So in theory, it should be a fairly straightforward birth, but obviously we just never know. So we might well come in one morning and just have a baby orangutan just sat there, but it's just a case of we just need to be mindful and be aware that obviously if things do go wrong and we need to step in, that we can do the best we can for her.
When it comes to the birth and gestation periods, there are three main sectors each animal falls into. These are viviparous, oviparous, and ovoviviparous. With plenty of other sections in the park, there are plenty of other unique birth processes. Most of the more differing processes tend to take place in our reptile house. However, the mammal team here at the park also have quite a unique animal. The Bennett's wallaby, although giving birth to live young, in a normal sense, will give birth to tiny, somewhat underdeveloped young. These tiny joeys jump into the mother's pouch immediately. They proceed to spend the next few months within the pouch, feeding and growing. It is not until the joey reaches a year old that it becomes fully independent from mom. What is also unique about wallabies is that they can care for multiple babies at once. With one joey hopping around outside the pouch, almost fully independent of mom, one newborn wallaby developing inside the pouch, and lastly, an embryo on hold, waiting to be born. Despite this, giving birth to live young means wallabies still fall into the viviparous category. Let's head over to our reptile team and check out some of the animals in the last two sections.
So we've got a fair few births that have happened since I've been here anyway. We've had our royal pythons, they've both given birth. We've had two yearlings from them. They're called Banoffee and Toffee, are the parents. They're very cute when you come and visit them. But we've had two from them, and they're currently off display. They're still quite young, so we're just rearing them up. We've also had some young geckos. We've had day geckos hatch out as well. Some interesting things about reptile births is that there's oviparous, viviparous, and ovoviparous. So these are different kinds of births that can happen. So viviparous is like all mammals and primates, where they give birth to live. Oviparous is where they lay eggs, and ovoviparous is like boas and anacondas, where they lay eggs within themselves, and then the eggs hatch out from within themselves into live births. We've just made a spectacled caiman nest, which we're hoping that they will lay eggs inside of. We would, if they do lay their eggs inside of there, we'll hopefully then be able to remove them from the nest, just because we can control them better within an incubator. And an interesting thing about controlling crocodile or quite a lot of reptile species eggs is that when you have them in a temperature controlled environment, you can actually then determine the sex of the offspring. So it's not very common that you would go in with crocodiles to remove the eggs, as crocodile mothers are actually very, very good at rearing their young. So they'll look after their young inside of their nest for a long period of time until they hatch out, and then they'll be able to hear the calls of their young from the nest where they bury their eggs. They'll hear the calls from their young, and then they'll actually unbury them and carry them in their mouths into the water.
With that in mind, let's shift our focus back to our expecting Awan and get an insight into how Tony, the managing director here at the park, feels about her progress. What are your thoughts on the ultrasound training? Has it been as successful as you initially hoped?
Better, much better. Yeah. Much better than I thought. It was, really well. We talked about it. We said, and everybody's a bit, she might grab the probe and all like that. But we were much more successful than we thought it would be. We thought it was going to be a hell. And not just that, you can remember when we're going to put the vet in there, and if you have to go in there and film while we're doing it. So she's got to get used to it. So much going on to what she is. And she is new to our park as well. I mean, she's only been here, 6-7 months, I think. So yeah, she's done really, really well. Brilliant, actually.
Is there anything that stands out to you considering Awan's more reserved personality?
I would just say it just shows how committed our staff are to doing the training and getting her right and working with her and really getting that relationship going. And you can see there's a good relationship. I don't think most people wouldn't understand how hard it is to get a relationship with a vet. They all hate the vet. Every animal, you watch every animal in this park, Georgia will be hated because she's the one doing all the horrible things to them, and they remember. And you've got rangs and chimps remember clearly who's the horrible one. So yeah, it's really good. They're doing really well. The team are doing well. So that's what we've got to say to ourselves. Even though I wasn't doing really well, but the team are doing well as well. So it's all going to plan as far as I'm concerned.
Do you have any hopes of either a boy or a girl? And if so, why?
I like a girl. I just like a girl. They're nice orangs, but the boys obviously are more like handsome, chunky. But the girls are lovely and dainty, and I just like girls. And the girl, that means we can move her on to another zoo, and she can breed in another zoo. So the genes will be moving. So it's good for the genes if we produce a girl. But we produce a boy, but I reckon it's going to be a girl.
Comparing what we are doing here with Awan and how that may differ in the wild, is there anything people might not consider to be absolutely vital for the best outcome?
Yeah, I think we do with our enrichments and everything. I think we try our best with the enclosures. With our enclosures, we've done a big outside, a big inside, which is unusual to have this massive inside. Then we've got the separate bedrooms. So we're trying to give it so they've got lots of movement around. Even their enclosure's got a big tower, a big tube that goes across the part so they can look out, see what's going on. Because people say, oh, why do you have the tubes? But that's enrichment as well, because they're watching what's going on. If you ever stand around, you'll see they're looking at all the customers. Everybody thinks that the customers are looking at them. I'll tell you now, they're watching the customers as well. So they're getting enriched by customers, they're getting enriched by everything. So hopefully our surroundings are really making it good for them. We keep giving them different things to do, challenges and everything. So hopefully, and then the baby will learn from her and it will be good stuff.
Is there anything in terms of the baby's arrival that is imperative the team do?
Well, yeah, I think we do. We have to be watching carefully. We're going to try and weigh the baby as soon as we can. We actually have to subsidise the milk for our baby chimps because Tara doesn't produce enough milk. So we monitor that. So we're monitoring the size of the baby constantly. The keepers will be taking pictures, just making sure the baby's growing, everything's got all right for it. So there is lots and lots going to go on in the background that people don't understand, where we've got to keep monitoring, make sure the growth's well. We judge her up against other baby rangs that have been bred in captivity, so we can just see the growth and make sure everything's going right.
Orangutans are typically known as quite solitary creatures. When it comes to orangutan pregnancy, the male will usually have nothing to do with mom or the baby. Both the male and female orangutans will come together in small periods of time, often known as courtships. It is here, in these brief moments, the breeding will take place, and will typically be the start and end of the male's involvement. For mom, however, it is the start of a very long and demanding journey. An average orangutan gestation period lasts around 8 months long. It is crucial mom finds a safe place away from natural predators and human activity. Mom will also need to find a steady source of food and sustenance, which is absolutely vital for both mom and the baby's health. Without the right amount of food, the baby will be prone to weakness and malnutrition. Once the baby is born, the second leg of the journey begins. An orangutan baby usually spends their first 6 to 9 years with their mum, soaking in as much training as possible. It is up to mum to distill all the knowledge and skills required for survival. As we explored in our very first episode, the number of wild orangutans has plummeted. What used to be an already low number has in fact halved within the last few decades. There are many different factors that attribute to this decline, from deforestation and fragmentation to palm oil farming, hunting, and illegal wildlife trade. Without the right environment, nutrition, and safety, those first few informative years become very difficult for both mum and the baby, and could very well end up being fatal. This is one of the many reasons we here at Wingham Wildlife Park have been working very hard to make sure Awan and her baby have the absolute best chance, while simultaneously simulating all the informative environments our great apes would experience in the wild. There is, of course, one main exception: the inclusion of Jin sticking around and helping Awan with the baby. Apart from the pair of extra hands helping Awan, we here at the park will do everything in our power to ensure we are simulating all the required environments for Awan to excel at being a mum. With the arrival of Awan's little one, it'll be up to her to teach and demonstrate all the necessary skills and behaviors needed to develop. Although survival isn't something our orangutans need to worry about day in, day out, there are still plenty of unique learning opportunities for Awan and her little one. This will include all the different types of training we saw in the last episode, knowing how and when to eat, how to swing and bridge gaps, and of course, getting the lay of the land.
So naturally, orangutans are what we call a semi-solitary species. So that generally will mean that the adult males will kind of keep to themselves. They're generally the solitary one, whereas the mothers will generally stay with their offspring till they reach about 8 years old. They're teaching them all of the life skills. Obviously, here at the park, we're keeping Jin and Awan together. These guys were raised in a nursery group at their last collection. So we're hoping that with being kind of around youngsters, that they've got those natural instincts and they just pick up childcare and share the responsibilities between the two of them. The gestation period for both chimps and orangutans are quite similar. So we are expecting her to give birth around June, July kind of time. So it is a little bit different with orangutans. Obviously, being a more solitary species, you're expecting Awan to do the main bulk of the taking care of the offspring. Whereas with the chimps, Tara did have a lot of help. Auntie Georgia is a great help for taking care of little Margaret and Elizabeth. Margaret is probably far more independent than Elizabeth is. Even at 7 years old, Elizabeth is still a little mummy's girl. Whereas Margaret, she'll take herself off and she'll go and spend a little bit more time playing with the other chimps. So obviously the social aspect of orangutans and chimpanzees are a little bit different. So you're relying more heavily on the mother to teach those basic life skills, what food is safe, where's the best kind of foraging areas, how to nest build and things like that. Whereas in a chimpanzee setting, it's a lot more social. They're kind of learning from each other, those social cues, and it's really important that they get that social connection. Tara's pregnancy, it was obviously one of the first chimpanzees we'd ever had born at the park, Elizabeth. So it was an adjustment period. At the time, ultrasound training wasn't a thing that we could do with Tara. It is something that we're now working on with all the chimps so that we can do different scans and things. But obviously at the time, we didn't have that kind of capability. Whereas with Awan, she has taken to ultrasound training absolutely fantastically. She comes on leaps and bounds every single time. But yeah, with Tara, it was more heavily reliant on weight control. So we were checking her weight. We were making sure that her and the fetus were growing nicely. She was getting enough food. She was getting taken care of by the other members of the group. And yeah, just trying to keep her as calm and collected. Obviously, in a more social species, you're going to have those kind of more conflict situations. So it is a little bit different to try and control that, but it is about keeping them nice and calm. With Awan, she is super chill. Jin is always the same as well. So it's nice to have kind of a different, less chaotic kind of setting for giving birth, bless her. We will be celebrating Awan's pregnancy with a lovely little baby shower. Everyone is invited and we can't wait to celebrate. The team are already showering her with extra little treats. Her diet has just been increased as well so that we can help with the growth of the fetus and with Awan. So yeah, we're going to be celebrating with lots and lots of treats.
Of course, with plenty of mention of Awan and Jin's baby shower. It's only right we don't wait any longer. The team have been working diligently to put together the ultimate celebration for the expecting couple. Tony, Laurice, Jackie, the primate and education team have all hands on deck with planning and bringing to life the absolute best baby shower possible. It's the first baby shower here at the park, so they are pulling out all the stops. With Jin and Awan inside training, there isn't much time to get everything done.
So yeah, we're just setting up for Alan's baby shower, which is really exciting. So we've got lots of different enrichment type pieces. We've got paper mache balloons. We've also got a couple of boxes and stuff for them to go through. A banner as well, just to celebrate.
With what seems like an endless amount of paper mache balloons, paper flowers, an assortment of nuts, treats, and even a specially made cake. The team worked quickly to put together the celebrations. And with everything set and ready to go, the team wait and see just how our two expecting orangutans react to the makeover their enclosure has had. It isn't long before Jin and Awan are out and taking in the sights. With plenty to explore, Jin gets straight to investigating, checking out each and every new addition to the enclosure, making sure no stone is being left unturned. While Awan takes a more methodical approach. Unsure of what to make of the celebrations, Awan's decided it's better to take in her surroundings before investigating. Jin, on the other hand, has already got the hang of getting the peanuts out of the papier-mâché balloons. Seeing Jin getting his reward gives Awan that little boost of confidence needed. And in no time, she's getting stuck in. The pair are well and truly enjoying themselves. With their high levels of intelligence, it's no surprise they have mastered gathering all the treats from inside the balloons and boxes. It isn't long before Jin discovers the specially made cake, and it's no surprise he's making sure he gets his fair share. The cake is made from a type of primate pellet and is an absolute favorite for our orangutans. With that, it's safe to say the baby shower went down a treat. Although Awan was unsure at first, seeing Jin dig in without an ounce of hesitation gave her the nudge she needed. With a successful baby shower and continued success in the ultrasound training, Awan is well and truly on her way to being a very confident mother. And as we gear up closer to the birth, we here at the park are all waiting eagerly for the arrival of Awan's little one. Stay tuned for our next episode. Watch as we take the final steps in preparing both Awan and the team for the birth. See what important steps the team must take to ensure the birth goes as smoothly as possible and how the team go about taking them. And lastly, watch as we check back in with some of the various familiar faces around the park and perhaps some new ones. Raising awareness and supporting conservation is key to securing the future of orangutans and other endangered and declining species, both in the wild and in human care. If you want to be part of their story, follow us on our social media accounts. Spread the word and help us make a difference.